Whoa,
Oh,
hello everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and welcome to another retro classic movie show. The show where me and a host of my guests talk about classic films anywhere from the 1970s up to the early 2000s. And of course, joining me is my amazing co host, Mr. DJ Anubis. Yes, all the way from the Metal Tavern Radio. And joining with today, we'll have a couple of another amazing guests, Mr. Anthony Jordan of Anthony Jordan Movie and Gaming, and Mr. Tony the Dead.
hello.
Yo, how you doing, gentlemen? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
How are you?
So, I'm very well tired, had a busy day, but you know what? I'm ready to motherfucking go. Because
Ooh.
that is how I roll.
Let's
Yes,
get cracking.
Yeah.
let's get cracking. So, obviously, one thing that we do here on the Retro Classic Movie Show is month to month, I select a movie, and then Mr. DJ Anubis selects a movie, and then we'll have a good old discussion about it. So, last month was his pick, and now this month is my pick. And so, I have selected none other than Starship Troopers. Now, this film, when it was released, it wasn't a financial success. It was also critically panned by a lot of the critics. And, I remember when this film came out and there was a mixed reaction among the people I knew to it. But as time's gone by, this film, which is based off a book, a 1959 book novel, it's kind of built like a cult following, and it's even spawned many sequels. Obviously, not big screen epics or continuations. The majority of the material that's followed has been straight to streaming or straight to physical media. So as always, we'll start off with the question that I always like to start with. When was your first time seeing Starship Troopers? So, Mr. DJ Anubis.
I remember when the movie came out, there was that controversy we're talking about. There were people that were hot and cold with it. And I looked at the trailer at the time and I was like, I don't know if this is really going to be for me. But I can't remember exactly when I saw it, but it must have been like Sci-Fi Channel or something. And it was on and I watched it and I was like, wow, this is actually fucking pretty good. I really enjoy this. It kind of reminded me a lot of StarCraft, a game that I used to play with the Zerg. So that's why it reminded me of that. And so, I was like really happy about it. And of course, I had a little bit of a crush on Denise Richards at the time, so that helped a lot. But yeah, it was a really fun movie, man. Oh, goodness. But yeah, it was just a really fun movie. And then Jake Busey's in it, Neil Patrick Harris. Those guys are really great actors and stuff. So it just had a nice little. It was the first time I'd seen Casper Van Dien. He went on to do like a slew of like those B-rate movies, including Shark Attack and stuff like that. So I was already familiar with Denise.
I think he also he also returned, I think, in the third movie.
Yeah.
And in several of the CG animated movies.
And plus, it has the great Michael Ironside. He's a fucking legend. So we have to put that
absolutely love Michael Ironside.
Yep.
Yeah. Anthony Jordan.
Well, I remember seeing the trailers as a kid, thought it looked good. I never got to see it in the theaters, but I'd seen it on cable, and I was unaware of the people hot and cold on it controversy, but I really liked it. Looking back, I think like people were expecting more of an Aliens experience and not something that's more satirical, and like over time I've come to appreciate it more now that I've become a Warhammer fan. This is as close as I'm probably ever going to get to a live action Imperial Guard movie, so definitely a fun film.
Well, you never know now that Henry Cavill's really working hard on a Warhammer movie.
Yeah, there's possibility now.
If it's successful, you never know. You could spin out into, well, it's not an if, it'll be when they decide to spin it off into sequels and spin-offs. Because, we've just been talking about James Bond the other day, me and a friend of mine at work, how now that Amazon Prime and MGM have got total control, it's just a matter of time before they spin that sucker out, and it's no longer just a straightforward franchise. They're gonna milk it till there's nothing left in the
Yeah, I've seen that. Not to switch topics, but that since you brought it up, that the Amazon Prime being over it doesn't exactly fill me with hope.
Yep, I think everyone's of the same opinion. Mr. Tony of the Dead, your first experience with Starship Troopers?
I did see it in the theater back in the day, but I didn't know about it until my friends I guess a couple of them went to go see it, and they're like, "Oh, you should go see it." I'm like, "Oh, I don't even know what you're talking about." And then they told me about it, and I was like, "All right, we'll go." Because back then you went to everything, and I was like, I went into it obviously not seeing a trailer or anything. I was like, "Wow, this is way gorier than I thought it was going to be," and action packed, and just it was a different movie for the time, for sure. And yeah, I remember it not doing that great. Like I said, I used to see pretty much everything back then, almost in the movies, and I never even heard of it. So, but here we are all these years later, and talking about it yet. So made a good impression for sure. I've never seen the sequels though. I have them all to watch on the computer, but I haven't dipped my toes into them yet.
I'd skipped the second one, and the third one I remember being at least watchable.
Yeah, the consensus is the second one wasn't as great, but the third one's actually pretty decent.
The second one has a great premise. They just fumbled the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'm very much like Tony. I've seen the first one. And my first recollection of Starship Troopers is many, many moons ago when I was a lot younger. My brother went to see it with some friends, and when he returned from the theatre, he was hyping the movie up, proper saying, "Oh, it's a great film, loads of gore." If I remember rightly, his prescription of it was he says it felt like a mixture of Aliens meets Predator meets Total Recall. That's how he kind of described it. And I think you got the Total Recall reference because Michael Ironside's in it.
A little RoboCop sprinkled in.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, Starship Troopers is a 1997 American science fiction action film directed by Paul Verhoeven. Verhoeven, yes.
That's how I would say it.
Yes, and written by Edward Numier, based on the 1959 novel by Robert A. Heinstein. Set in the 23rd century, the story follows teenager Johnny Rico as he comrades as they search in the military of the United Citizens Federation, an Earth-based world government, engaged in an interstellar war against an alien species known as the Arachnids. The film stars Casper Van Dien, Dina Meyer, Denise Richard, Jake Busey, Neil Patrick Harris, and Patrick Muldoon, and Michael Ironside. And for me, straight off the bat, as I do think it has a really strong, interesting cast. You've got there's Johnny Rico, played by Casper Van Dien. Then you have, of course, Dina Meyer. As we've seen before, the lovely Denise Richards. who kind of she was starting to build a name for herself. She was a Bond girl. She did, was it Wild Thing she did?
Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, she did that, and she was in the James Bond movie. Then, of course, you do have there is Jake Busey.
Mhm.
Then you have Neil Patrick Harris.
Very young in that.
Yes. Then you have
This
this
asshole.
is yes,
Let's
Patrick
talk about John
Muldoon.
asshole.
And then, of course, you have the fantastic Michael Ironside, who
Mhm.
was by far the best character for me.
Yep.
Yeah. Also, let's not forget Dean Norris.
Yes, Dean Norris is in this. Yes. But as you know, the story very much starts off where you've got these young teenagers who are about to leave high school, and where, you know, normally you would think, oh, they'd go to college and begin life into adulthood, but no, that's not exactly what happens, because, as you know, throughout the course of the movie, you're seeing all these news articles.
You forgot Clancy Brown. Can't forget Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
Can't do that. Can't do that.
Yes, Clancy Brown is also in this. His actual role ends up being more important by the film's end. Yes. Clancy Brown, yes, like he's also in this. So you've got Johnny Rico, who's a school sports star who joins the infantry. You then have Dina Myers, who is Dizzy Flores, who's, she's their classmate. She's like a tomboy, but she also has a massive crush on Rico.
Yeah, it's like a love triangle between
Yeah.
Johnny, Carmen,
Yeah,
and
yeah. You've got Carmen, who is Rico's girlfriend, who has has aspirations to join kind of they become a starship captain and all that stuff. Jake,
Space Air Force.
Yeah, you've got Carl Jenkins, who's a psychic who joins the military's intelligence. Who I thought when I first seen this for the first time, I expected him to have a bigger role to play as it went on, because I really would have loved to see like sides of him like trying to talk to the bugs and potentially be hypnotized by the bugs or struggle to fight the influences from the bugs to like cause chaos. I thought that would have been a great, and I honestly would have hoped if they did a sequel, which you could tell the way this ended, they were hoping to like have a big screen sequel and probably spin it off to be like a huge big screen like franchise like Star Wars.
Okay, since you mentioned that, it doesn't involve his character, but being influenced by the bug does kind of affect the plot of the third movie.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't get that far yet.
So they're your main three characters, the four characters at the beginning of the movie. But I kind of knew how the movie was going to end with how the movie starts. You basically start with three main characters. And then it spins off where Carmen decides she wants to join, train to be a space pilot. He basically, Rico I don't think he has a real inspiration to want to be join the infantry. He literally joined the infantry because he's going after his girlfriend.
Yep. Much to his parents' chagrin.
Yeah, and his parents, who are really just rich up their own arse. You do what we say. Don't get yourself into any danger. Like it comes across that they've kind of wanted to raise him with like a silver spoon in his mouth. And that it's their rules, and you do what they say. You join the family business, and you live your life a certain way.
Yep.
And then as the plot progresses, things get serious as he joins the infantry. Of course, she joins the space program, and before the space program, they have one final match between, I guess, the rival high schools.
Yeah. That's what I was going to get to, because
Yeah.
that sort of sets up the love dilemma.
Yeah. So prior to them, Carmen joining the space program, there's like, I guess, one final rivalry sports team match between the two rival schools.
Yeah.
And you have Rico, who's like, I guess he's like the jock, he's like the number one sportsman of the team. And then he's introduced to Xander Barkalow. Now Xander Barkalow is like, I guess, the jock and the top guy of the other school.
A rival,
and, the rival, and they basically clashed on the field. And that actually progresses as the story progresses, because obviously this Xander has a feelings and a crush on Carmen. Rico sees it, doesn't like it. There's a push to shove match between the two of them. They kind of like get into a bit of a scuffle, and then when everything breaks up, and that kind of sets the tone of this like four-way love triangle between Rico, Carmen, Xander, and Dizzy. So next thing you know, all of them are basically separated. Carmen joins a space program. Xander's there. Just like how Rico's joined the infantry to just, I guess, be closer to Carmen, Dizzy also, I think, joins the infantry to be close to Rico.
Yeah.
And, this is, it's basically the start of this movie feels like a teen drama series.
It's like half coming of age movie, half war movie.
Yep.
Yeah, what's funny too is like generally people that criticize the film, they're like oftentimes giving Rico a lot of shit because he followed his girlfriend there, which is kind of sad, but we don't really give Dizzy a lot of that heat, because she did the same thing. She went after Rico. Now, granted, it turns out sort of good for her and sort of bad in the end, but the reality is you just never hear people give her shit about it. It's always about Rico and him being pussy whipped and following Denise into the military, and it's like, man's love is a man's love, man.
I do want to say though, I like the scene where like Michael Ironsides isn't either encouraging or discouraging him from the military.
Yeah.
That's why I really like this character that he plays. Character is Gene Razak, and there's no real. Even though am I there? Is it froze?
Sorry, you're there. You're all right. You're all right.
You're all right now.
It was for a minute.
Oh, cool. Frozen for a minute. So what I like about his character is that he's the kind of teacher I would want if I was at high school. A teacher that is teaching you the lessons that you need to be learned, but he's not over persuasive, and he's not over discouraging of your choices. He lets you try and figure out your path on your own.
I think he knew that Rico was trying to join for the wrong reason, but he wasn't trying to be a dick about it. He's like, if you're going to do it, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons.
He's the type of teacher, he's not going to hold your hand, but he's not going to push you too hard either.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, definitely. So, anyway, he goes chasing after Carmen and Xander on one area during the space program, and then you've got Dizzy and Rico, who are now in the infantry, who meet up with a bunch of other young people, including Jake Busey's character Ace, and a handful of others. They also are introduced to Clancy Brown's character, Sergeant Zim, who takes no shit. And keeps it real and keeps things going. During this time, he's kind of like still only in it for the reasons of I'm after my girlfriend. And then suddenly he receives this message, basically where she's basically breaking up with him and saying she wants to actually go full throttle on her career and become a captain of one of the starships, and that kind of discourages him. And he's like, "Why am I here? I'm only here for one reason."
Yeah.
But then things drastically change when all of a sudden there's a news broadcast that there has been a massive attack by the bugs, and the bugs have destroyed. I'm trying to remember where they hit again.
Buenos Aires. They were blowing up.
Aires.
Yeah. Kevin, I check your email. I sent you 2 pictures of when I met Dina Myers and Casper Van Dien.
Oh,
Yeah.
I do want to say something.
I did meet Jake Busey, but I didn't get a picture with him.
Since we
I will. Oh, go ahead, Anthony.
And since we kind of fast forward through it, I do want to say I like after the scene where Casper Van Dien makes the mistake and has the guy take off his helmet during the live, and he gets the lashes. Like, I like that scene where Clancy Brown tells him, "Bite down on this; it helps." And like, it doesn't have to say it, but you can like tell Clancy Brown's character made a similar mistake very early on in his career, and he potentially sees a lot of himself in Casper Van Dien.
Yeah.
Yep. Great observation.
Bite down on this; it helps. I know. So.
And that's a big scene. Because Florida D takes Rico. He's like depressed, and he's like, "I'm fuck it, I'm out of here." Because this is also, if I recall, this is it? No, it's not after he hasn't broke with him yet. But yeah, he makes a mistake and he's ready to quit, and then of course Buenos Aires gets hit by the fucking bug bomb or whatever the fuck that thing is, a comet, wipes out the fucking entire city, and his parents are gone.
Yeah.
So he re-enlists, and of course again Zim's there, and Zim's like, "Yeah, I think we should bring him back. Let him come back in."
Yeah.
So go ahead, Kevin. Sorry.
But how they got an asteroid?
No, carry on.
I'll never know.
What's that?
So how they got an asteroid to travel faster than the speed of light, I'll never know.
And without finding a way to stop it. They have all this technology to fly, but no one knows how to stop this asteroid from coming.
Actually, a huge fan theory that the Federation actually launched that asteroid to invade those planets.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, the one cool thing that we didn't really mention was one thing I really like Starship Troopers is how they use propaganda. So they make these commercials very fun-like, and it's like digital, like before the internet age, really. And it's like, did you know? And then of course there's a point where Patrick Neil Harris's character is like, yeah, you shoot the leg off, it does nothing. They just keep coming. You got to shoot this. You got to get them in the head, to knock them down. Yeah. So it's all these then you got the kids doing the stomping on the roaches, doing their part.
Yeah, that part's always so psychotic looking.
Well, I agree with that. I agree. Like it feels as if. Where she's when she's stamping on the bugs, all the kids, and this woman's like,
she's like, oh, crazy,
proper possessed. I agree with Anubis how you've just said that, how the propaganda throughout this movie, and like it's like, would you like to know more or something, it says, and then in my theory is it's actually this Earth Federation that started this war. I genuinely believe that they discovered the bug planet, and then they decide to try and take over it and kill thousands or millions of these bugs. So they've retaliated, and then that's what started the all-out war. But obviously, I don't know if that's anything a part of the book or if the other films or the series hint at that, because I've never seen anything. But there just feels like there's I just feel like when it comes to this film, there's a huge shadow over the actual Federation, say that's the Earth Agency Federation that's controlling our side of the war. I think that there would probably be a lot of dark secrets
point because the asteroid pretty much has to travel a long distance because where they were. So one, how do they not detect that? Two, there's that battle later on with the airships, and all of a sudden they've got this shit flying, at them from the planet because they're obviously invading some territory there. So it's like naturally they're going to fight back.
Yeah.
So everything that we saw was basically the Federation invading other planets. We never really get a clear. We obviously they're saying we're going to get back and get revenge, but the reality is they're the ones that's kind of breaching out in space and doing this. Like they're not the ones coming to our planet, you know.
Well, remember though, they're sending those things
Yeah,
out,
it's like,
and they are shooting them down. But that one got past, and that one was enough to destroy that whole place. And that they also said that's how they are conquering other planets because of their throwing those out. So they don't. I don't know. Maybe it isn't going light speeds or whatever, but I don't think the bugs give a shit as long as they get there.
No.
Like now that
Yeah.
one hit the Earth and blew up bonus areas and stuff. Now, doesn't that mean that they're on Earth too now?
No, because that was just the asteroid. That's different than them shooting their.
Yeah, it's almost like
swords
a plasma thing that they shoot out. It's not really. It's not carrying bugs or anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So what ended up happening after that? After after that whole place is totally decimated. Rico obviously was doing that training exercise. Someone is accidentally killed, and he suffers for it. He gets punished for it. He decides to quit, and then because of that incident with millions of people being killed, and his hometown's been totally obliterated and wiped out. He now has like a new, he has like something to fight for. He has something that's pushing him forward other than Carmen, and that is he wants to wipe the bugs out for the death of his family and everyone that he knows. So they ended up going on one of them big spaceships to, I think it's called Klendathu, which is the bug's home planet. Klendathu is the arachnid's home planet. And, they go there, and they go there to try and wipe out the bugs, and there is a number of bugs. There's not just the one that we know. Well, I think there's just the one. This is the main bug.
Soldier.
Everybody knows from. Yeah, that's like the soldier bug.
Yeah. I like how that looks real, but you can tell it's a toy.
That's a soldier bug.
It's pretty crazy looking, man.
Yeah, it's very unique. Very unique,
Yeah.
I think. It's like part spider, part fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind having one of those little grub bugs.
But when they get to the planet, though, the grub bugs. But there is another bug that we see during this period, and that is the plasma bug.
Yeah. And I wonder if those are just like giant fireflies.
So, yes, that is a toy, Tony. Don't you?
Oh yeah. I wish I would have got these toys when they first came out.
They're like the giant firefly bug. My brother actually got one of the soldier bugs, but it was one of them you had to paint yourself. You had to build it and paint it. My brother had one of those.
I have no patience.
Yeah, so
I do, but I don't.
This looks more like this looks more. This looks more like a Funko Pop.
Yeah.
But that is they're the first two bugs you introduce. And there's one thing we never mentioned is that right at the start of the movie you see like the news reporter on the planet reporting about the big first encounter on their home world, and he gets decimated, he gets ripped apart. And then obviously when they first invade the planet, it's literally fast forwarded to that point in time where you see the you see the reporter be ripped apart, and as you just see the total carnage and how they're just totally outmatched, totally outgunned, and like Rico gets severely injured. There are literally hundreds of thousands of soldiers just literally destroyed, killed in the first attack.
Yep.
And the Carmen actually is told that he has died because she goes to the machine, like the computer device, and searches for him, and he comes up deceased.
Yep.
So she's totally broken that somebody she cared about is being taken away.
Hey, of course, this happens after she broke up with him. Like, she sent him a message, and he was getting these video letters, and she broke it off. But this section is like one of my favorite parts of the film because it really sets the mood. Because, as you said, Rico gets injured on the attack on the planet, and he gets reported dead, but he's in like this cryo tube that's like healing him while he's in underwater and stuff. And so, of course, you start to like Dizzy because she's up there and she's kissing the tank and saying hello, whatever. Says that he was dead, trying to fuck with him, and he's like smiling. Then when they get out, they go and get tattoos. And of course, it's kind of like a mixer between all the different branches of the military. And so you get the air units in there, the infantry and everything else. And of course, Carmen sees him. Maybe it was before that because
they got the tattoos when they first got to the port, and that's where she sees him. She's like, Johnny Rico.
So we missed the fight, but so anyway, she sees him. They talk, and of course, this is after they break up. But then he's like, well, he sees what's his fuck Xander, our favorite guy, who is with her. He says, "Oh, so this is the reason why he broke up with me." And it was kind of a cool moment because obviously, as a pilot, I guess he has some sort of rank over infantry, but he tried to be a smart ass, say, "Well, rank doesn't matter," and Rico didn't waste any time and started swinging. And it's kind of a nice little fight, and then of course they split up. But I did enjoy the camaraderie between.
What I liked about the fight, what I was just going to say, what I liked about the fight is right at the beginning, Rico gets the first punch, and then Xander does kind of throw him about and has the upper hand, but then Rico kind of takes over, and he starts to win the fight, and that's when it split up. So I generally think Rico would have kicked his ass.
I do like that aspect.
Didn't have to end the fight.
I do like that aspect that an officer could just say, well, we got this beef. I'm stating it now. Rank doesn't matter. And they could just fight out their differences. Yep. I'm not necessarily an advocate that violence solves everything, but I also, if two people have a beef and it's consenting and they agree to fight it out, I think that's absolutely acceptable.
I mean, to be fair, like, I think Rico probably would have just walked away, but that fucker, dude, he was like just antagonizing him. He's like starts insulting the infantry, and he's like, "What?" Then he starts taking it a little more personally, and so there's a reason why. Yeah. And it happened during the game. He did the same shit, trying to hit on Carmen and everything. It was like the whole thing. So
I was Anthony just
said, that was two guys just getting their beef out. They said, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this fucking delay sucks, man.
Because of the first attack being
delay.
Well, there's nothing I can do about the delay, unfortunately.
Come closer, Kevin. Come closer.
So, come closer. Are you going to pay for a plane ticket for us? That's very kind of you. So here we go. I forgot my train of thought now, Tony.
Well, we were talking about how they were fighting, and the line, I always like the line that he says, like when they first meet each other again, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we met we know each other from the game," and he goes, "No offense or anything." He goes, "Oh, no offense taken. We won." I was like, oh, good move. But this guy's
Yeah,
fucking your
that was
girlfriend,
cool.
so
He also should have
Yeah.
seen a
The
warning
great,
sign when
yeah.
after the game she was talking to him after he was openly flirting with her.
Oh, and she was all about it. He's a pilot too. She's trouble, man. All these years later, I still look at her as
Mhm.
trouble. And we don't even get to see her tits.
Tale as
What?
old as time. Someone has the better option right in front of them and doesn't realize until it's too late.
Right. His faux show.
But you had the pleasure, Tony, of meeting these two amazing actors.
Yeah. That was in
So
2013.
she is gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks better now than
Yeah.
than she did when she was younger.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
No. He's very nice. He's very loud.
Yeah. So yeah. I can imagine he seems more like bubbly and more like a bubbly character than what his character is in the movie.
Oh yeah. He's. I mean, he seemed like he appreciated his fans too. He wasn't like a jerk. He was nice to everybody. His line didn't take forever, but yet you spent enough time with him to have a good experience. So, plus they put him in the middle like of the room, so he like was talking to every celebrity like while we're talking to him. That's where my whole him singing Tony Chestnut comes into play, because his son's name is Tony. And he said about how he's like, I used to sing that to
All
my
right.
to him, like, Tony Chestnut knows I love you. So he's like singing this in the middle of the convention to me, and then Tony Todd hears it, and he thinks he's talking to him, and I go, not you, Tony, me, Tony. I think I said that before, but that's my little story with that. It was like a nice, funny experience. But again, that was in 2013. I think.
Well, it's good. But the thing is, though, you've got memories. You've got there. No one can take their memories from you. It's
True,
nice
yeah.
that you got to meet people that you enjoy and people from the industry.
So
Yeah.
I probably missed it when I stepped away. How was Dina?
And
She cool?
Yeah, she was very nice. Very nice. I don't remember my conversation much with her because I was nervous. But
yeah, I know how that goes.
But yeah, I remember her being very nice. She's a wonderful smile. I hugged her and everything, like everybody hugs. But like, yeah, it was cool. And she didn't cost like an arm and a leg to meet or anything either.
Meteor.
She was a little meatier than I thought, but I ate her anyway. No. But Jake Busey, I met him as well, but he was there at another convention, and his dad was there, and I met Jake, but I didn't meet his dad. But
what was Jake like?
Kind of like his character in the show, on the movie. Maybe a little more toned down, but like not much different. Like he was cool. The only thing was like at the time, it was like you either get I don't think I got a picture with him. If I do, I can't find it on my phone, but I got him to sign a movie, Death Row. It was a movie on Sci-Fi Channel, and I had him sign that. I was like, "Did you ever have anybody sign this before?" He goes, "Yeah, there's been a couple, but he's probably used to like Starship Troopers and other weird shit that he's been in."
That's one thing I liked. You mentioned I liked about his character. At the beginning, you're like, okay, this guy's obnoxious. I don't like him, but like you warm up to him really fast.
Yeah, he was very likable.
Yeah. His character kind of shifts after Carmen dumps Rico and he sympathizes with him.
Yep.
You see, like they have like that camaraderie with each other, like because he see, it always sucks when they rip your heart out. So he must have had a past experience with a past girlfriend, so he kind of understands. his situation. But like you say, after the first initial attack on the Bug's home planet, it feels like the film takes a total different tone and it totally shifts.
Yeah.
So right at the beginning, it's like a 90s high school drama, like a teen soap opera. Then it kind of like is a mixture of that and some sort of recruitment drive feel. And now it feels like you're fully going into war, the second half of the movie.
And what's funny is how quick the movie is, but it doesn't make like it feels like it's rushing it. You still get everything, the growth, but it doesn't feel like it's rushing it at all. It's all just falling into place.
Yeah.
The only thing I think it rushes is these kids have to grow up.
It's like
fast.
a 2-hour movie, and it didn't feel like. Yeah, that's true. They do have to go up fast, but I was going to say like it feels as if the movie isn't a 2-hour movie, but it is.
True.
Like it's like 2 hours 9 minutes, I think, long, and for me it didn't feel like 2 hours 9 minutes.
I think maybe like 20
and
or
it's like
50 minutes
probably
of that
what you
was
see.
credits. Sorry.
Yeah. But no, but it's like another film I've just recently seen, Captain America: Brave New World. That has a strong start and it slows right down. It has some major pacing issues, and you can definitely tell where they've done reshoots or tried to change it up a bit to add some more action in it. And then it has quite a fast-paced, blink and you miss it ending, which is a story for a different time.
Yeah.
But yes, where this, like you mentioned, has a steady pace throughout the movie.
Yeah.
So we're now near the last half of the movie where Rico, after he's recovered and he's like dead set, he wants to go back into out into war and basically kick the Bugs' asses, once and for all. He discovers that the reason he's not dead is that Gene Rezak, the teacher that give him advice in the beginning, is the man that rescued him, and is now basically taken over
the Roughnecks,
the his platoon, the Roughnecks, and he's highly respected, he's highly regarded. And this is when they end up going out to, I don't think they go to the home planet in the beginning. I think this is like another planet, like a moon, to source out some information on to study the bugs, and they go to war with the bugs. And this is where you have this amazing battle with the bugs. There's thousands of the troops.
They're trying to take different planets in the system before they go back to the main planet.
That's pretty cool looking, that thing.
So this is like the tank bug. It's like a flame-throwing tank bug. You then introduce which is this is like the
mosquitoes.
They're like mosquito bugs,
wasp or whatever.
These scenes are just amazing.
Annoying as hell. That's
mosquitoes.
I did want to say though, one thing I really like is it's a quote from Raznek about how when he comes in, he's like, "I only have one rule: everyone fights, no one quits. You do your job. I'll shoot you myself."
Yep. I always love that grab right there where he tried jumping off and it just nope, you're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You know what drives me crazy in these kind of movies is how it was in that Tomorrow Wars, same thing. How long it takes to take down one, and that's just a soldier. You know how long it takes. How could we win that? Seriously, I know we have bombs and stuff, but if you're going up infantry against them, especially that one scene where they get taken off the planet. All the bugs are coming around. Those big fire bugs. How are you supposed to do that? Like, there's probably look at how many ants there are to a person.
Mhm.
Imagine the ants that size. That's crazy.
Realistically,
Yeah,
That's the thing about the end, though. Is the end is like where Patrick Harris's character. That's sort of like they're still trying to learn about the bugs. Like they're trying to figure out what they do, what their thinking process is. So I think at the early part of the stages, even though they'd already encountered those soldiers at one point, like it's a continued learning process of what's going to work and what's not. That's why they lose so many people. This is like Vietnam and the fucking alien world,
Well, how come then if Neil Patrick Harris knows he's in the office and everything, and he takes them down like that and takes out the nervous system, why don't they do that?
They may not have the information yet.
It's easier to
they
shoot
know
carefully like that under a safe, controlled environment than under the full pressure of combat. When you have one running towards you at full speed, it's going to be a lot harder to hit that one critical spot.
True, but if there's 10 of you, chances are one of these can aim.
Well, yeah, but those bugs are probably coming in all directions, man. It's like you don't know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah, so on theory,
you
probably want 3 or 4 people aiming at any one bug at any one time. But when you're swarmed, you're not going to have that luxury of 3 or 4 people aiming at one at any time.
I know. I saw plenty of people in that clip just now aiming at one bug. Like 10 people.
Maybe they're just bad shots.
They're horrible. They also did get thrown right into it. So,
yeah, you have to understand they lost so many people the first time around. I think there's a mention at one point that some of them were young. Like they kept recruiting younger and younger. They were running out of bodies. Like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at the first battle where there were over thousands were killed, that was like Rico and all of them people's first time out at war. This is like their second, attempt at war. We're going out on the battlefield. So there would have been people joining Rico and Dizzy the second time round who it was their first interactions with the arachnids, the fear among them would have been out, crazy.
Yeah.
So it's like, you've got to look at it that way. And it's also, you've got to remember, like, it's like any scenario. It's like you could be trained to be a fireman and done all your training over the last 5 years. And then once you go into your first fire, doing your training and actually really being in it is probably 2 separate things.
Well, sure.
They can prepare you all you want, but it's like you can be prepared all you want, have all the training you want, but it's once you're actually out there and you're in the midst of it, it's a different scenario. It's a different ball game.
Yeah. But a firefighter would have a better chance of surviving than I would, for sure.
You got to keep in mind, too, like the rifles they're using. It's great if you're fighting humans, but those weapons are not good against bugs. Like, you really need full-on exploding ammunition to do maximum damage.
Which they end up doing at the end.
Like little mini nuclear bomb they had, that'd be me. I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. You guys get out of the way. This is happening.
Yeah, I would love to have that. Like, shoot a nuke down a bug hole,
and
you
you've
get
got
a lot of dead bugs.
Yeah. And like you say, the first attack where hundreds of thousands were killed, that was the military and the people in the offices sending all these bodies out just to basically it was like a test to see what would happen, to see how we could fight them. And thousands have died, so little normal guns aren't working. We better send out some rocket launchers with them next time. And then, like you say, throughout the second battle, they're then discovering different bugs, and then they discover that in the base that there is, one of I think it's a colonel or somebody or a sergeant who's hiding. He then reveals that basically there was bugs came in, took over the encampment, and were sucking the brains out of the soldiers, and basically extracting their brains and extracting their information.
Yeah.
So this is new elements that they're now discovering, that the bugs are far more intelligent that they anticipated.
Yeah.
And that basically happened with the first battle when they went to the planet and you had the plasma bugs sending the plasma ball things up basically to destroy the ships. So that's like a calculated and thought out plan. So they knew straight away that these bugs aren't just these giant mindless killing machines. There's actually some thought behind them.
Yeah, because he said that the
And
spores were supposed to be
this is
random
when-
and like light, and then it was just like rain in outer space. And she's like, this isn't random or light. Someone messed up, and that's where that main guy gets demoted, and then the next lady, the next one comes in and takes over. So that guy got screwed up, but like they didn't. There was speculation of a brain bug, but it wasn't like known around everybody. Just NPH knew about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Neil Patrick Harris then, after the another massacre where Michael Ironside is basically taken out, and he says, shoot me, and he gets shot. Rico shoots him, ends his life, which I think is a really great scene, one of the best scenes in this thing. Yeah, I love that scene, because he knows he's done for, and he'd rather die of basically a soldier's death than left
he did that.
Or to be
he
taken
did that earlier.
bullets.
Ironside, that dude that got picked up by the flying bug, he sniper shot him. He says, everybody kind of looked at him like, well, why'd you shoot him? He said, that dude was already dead, so I'd expect you to do the same thing for me.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Ironside. I think he could have made it out. I think he could have had two awesome metal legs and been close on his way to a Terminator, and I think he would have been badass.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe in a sequel later down the line we'll have a return. Well, obviously after the victory of defeating well, after the victory of everyone being defeated, we have skipped over a little bit that Dizzy and Rico finally embrace and actually get it on like Donkey Kong. And,
that was funny too.
I do think Rico.
It was funny because,
that was funny.
Isaac comes in and he's like, okay, we got to go. And he's like, who's with you? And she gets under from the sleeping bag. He's like, all right, make it 20 minutes. He's like, Enrico's like, we could do it. He's like,
I would try.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
I also think, but if you remember what he said when,
sorry.
If you remember right at the beginning, though, he says, have fun. That's an order. When he right at the beginning when everyone's dancing and you've got he gets the violin out and he starts playing, they start slow dancing, and you kind of know what was going to happen. So basically, they followed his orders. They're having fun.
Yeah.
And obviously that was way before. That was way before they ended up then basically going to that planet, and then they go to the planet. He is unfortunately killed. Rico then basically takes command, and this is where I think he's introduced once again to Neil Patrick Harris's character, who then informs them basically that we need you to go to the planet again, and we need you to find what we believe is the brain bug, and all of this stuff starts to happen. And that's then basically revealed by him that everything that's happened, they've been all expendable. They're all basically just been used as cannon fodder just to find out little bits and pieces, just to try and have some sort of insight onto the brain bug. And this is, they're kind of pissed about that. So they ended up going to the planet. they end up going to the planet to face the brain bug, and Dizzy is also killed. And
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Because there is that moment
so-
like he's holding her and she's like, well, at least I got the chance to have you. And I'm just like, oh, really? Are you fucking with me right now, dude? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's killed in a heartbreaking way. So she finally got to like have the person she wanted. And finally got the, she finally got to have the person she fell in love with. And he's now heartbreaking because I guess the only person that truly knows him is gone.
Yep.
Because I always thought that her and Carmen, I always thought Dizzy and Rico were a better fit than Carmen and Rico. And obviously that was the whole point of the movie, to basically show like these differences of these characters. And even though he's a douchebag, I still don't think Xander would have been a good fit for Carmen.
I like Xander way more than I do Carmen. Like, I know he was a prick and he moved in on her and everything, but then later on,
Carmen was a tease, though. She
was a total fucking tease.
Yeah.
And then she was the one like still running into him, and of course he made sure that they ran each other, and it was just inevitable. But later on, when they're together, and then like he's not with Carmen anymore, Rico, and he's starting to become his own person, growing up and having Dina, and then everybody. It's like it was such a better decision that she made for him, because it's like he had to get rid of her. He had to be gone from her.
It's like the whole story for me is simply he's chasing after a girl. He doesn't really have any direction for himself. He then goes chasing after her and finds who he truly is. Mm-hmm. And not only did he find out who he truly is, he actually found out what he really wanted. And in my opinion, I think Dizzy was the girl for him. Like she was a better fit for him, and then he loses her. That like say goodbye, and she has her funeral. He then is reintroduced to Neil Patrick Harris's character, who basically he's totally changed. He's like came across quite heartless in the beginning, but I suppose he's got to, because his job is to protect humankind and to source out the knowledge and the information he needs to defeat this enemy, which is the bugs.
Yep.
And because of all this, because there is this change, you're then introduced to the three main characters that we meet right at the beginning: Carmen, Rico, his character, Neil Patrick Harris's, and then this plan is put together for them basically to go and try and find the brain bug. And during that time, you've got Carmen with Xander are flying the ship. Rico's went down with his team, who's now like the sergeant is in charge. When he's there, all hell breaks loose. There's a massive battle between everything. At the same time, the ship is hit and crashes. They have to get out the escape pod and the crash land. As the crash, Xander and Carmen are basically land in an area and are basically captured by the bugs and taken into like this underground cavern, like through the tunnels, the bug tunnels. Rico then discovers that Carmen has crashed on the planet, and then he goes after her. But he's not meant to be going after her. He's meant to be chasing the brain bug, but there's something basically pulling him towards Carmen. There's something inside that's pulling him to go rescue her. And as he goes down to try and rescue her, we're then left with that amazing scene in the tunnels where we're first introduced to the brain bug. And the brain bug is an almighty,
ugly
disgusting
motherfucker.
I think he's kind of cute.
It looks like a vagina with teeth.
Yep.
That's his name, vaginal dentata.
And as you can see, poor Xander,
Yeah.
he's fucked.
I didn't feel sorry for him.
He stuck it to him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He got his just reward.
Yeah.
Talk too much shit.
And to cut a long story short, as the brain bug is yeah. So as the brain bug goes to kill Carmen, she then cuts off like the long I guess the tendril that sticks into the brains and sucks your fucking brain out. And it kind of goes batshit crazy, tries to escape down one of the caverns. Rico comes, rescues her, and then a few minutes later, when they've all escaped and there's been another big sacrifice and the cave's been destroyed, it's then revealed that is none other than who? Sergeant Zim, who captures the brain bug. Clancy Brown's character.
That's private.
Private,
And
yes.
it was set up at the beginning of the war that we need you training troops. The only way you're going in the combat is if you get busted too, Private.
Yeah. Which I would love to know what he did to get busted down that low.
Well, I'm hoping he
It might have been
punched the
picking out for Rico.
yeah. Well, I'm hoping. Well, Captain, commanding officer Dean Norris, who was the commanding officer we know from Breaking Bad, but forgot to mention I'm hoping when Rico left the room, he punched the fuck out of him, and that's why he was. But at the same time, though, when he said, "Is that your signature?" and he's like, "Yes, sir." And then he goes, "It doesn't look like it," and rips it up. You can see the face from Dean Norris. He knows what's about to happen. So, you know, you don't know. I don't think that would have been him, but I think it might have had something to do with him if they kept on disagreeing with each other.
It could have been something as simple as him going to Dean Norris later on and saying, "I want to get busted down to Private."
Yeah, but I hope it's something where he threw a knife and stuck his hand to the wall or, you know, something like that.
Well, we'll never know.
Like a quick drop down to Private. Come on, you two's gonna get you in trouble. Look, he's showing these big pussy brains on the.
That is, I know this is like a fucking Funko Pop or some sort. That is one ugly mother.
I would love to have that as a Funko. I wouldn't even tell anybody what it was. I'd be like, "What do you think that is?" And I'll never tell them.
But so yes, that is Starship Troopers. So not all. What's your thoughts on it? Is a film. I personally enjoy it. I personally think it's definitely a cult classic now. I do think the acting right at the beginning is really cheesy. I don't think the acting really was a nosedive right at the beginning, but everything seems to change once they have that massacre of the troops on the planet. And then you've got Rico, you've got Dizzy, you've got them all basically taking everything serious now. And that's for me where you get a massive shift in the acting, in the story. And I just think it's an overall great movie.
Yeah.
So, you got anything else to say, Mr. Anthony Jordan?
I want to add that, I do think this movie was a few years ahead of its time. Had we gotten this same movie, obviously different cast, but if it had come out 10 years later, I think the initial reception would have been a lot better. But back late 90s, the audience and even the critics wanted something that was more straightforward.
I think a lot of people seen it and just thought it's another Star Wars knockoff, or it's another, like you say, it's another Total Recall knockoff, or I think I would have went down that road where people would have just looked at it down the lines of that.
I do want to add, in the book, it's not so much like straight infantry like this. Like, they actually have power armor they fight the bugs with.
Oh, well, that makes more sense. Kind of need that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they've kind of tried to make this like a straightforward war movie, but science fiction over than maybe taking more of the science fiction elements.
Yeah. And just think, a lot of the people that are fighting that, the one guy was only doing it so he can get into Harvard for free, and he gets ripped the hell apart. The other girl wanted to have babies, and she got pulled down a hole. Like, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Is it worth having kids for that? I don't think so. Trust me.
But
With the only one here that has
yeah,
kids,
but
I would not fight bugs to have a baby.
yeah,
Or
but
become
don't forget,
citizen.
like but don't forget, like Anubis said right at the beginning, you've got all them videos and all this propaganda, and they're probably making it out. It isn't as dangerous as it is, or we've got all the firepower, you've got all of the armor, you can't get killed, you can't get hurt. You can
They're
go
only
there
bugs,
and
so we could just kill them all. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Like you see, you've got that video right at the beginning where you've got like you said, the woman, and she's laughing hysterically as the kid just standing on cockroaches in the middle of the pavement.
Yeah.
So that's adding to the fuel of if I can do that, I can become a citizen by doing it on another planet for a year and come back.
And to be fair, before the war with the bugs, like, if you were enrolled in the military, probably the most action you would see would be the occasional dissident group that declared independence from the Federation.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting subject with the whole military. That sounds like something like Anubis and I've listened to certain podcasts, and they're like, like on whatever podcast, like if you get an extra vote, if you're a woman, and you get an extra right to vote if you go into the military, and then they have that conversation and shit, But it's like, here, you want citizenship, you have to fight. You want to have babies, you got to fight. It's kind of crazy.
I
like
think
how
the
that
way
shit
she
is.
explained that, though, was like, if you're not a citizen, you have to apply for the license to have babies, which is a lot harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just a crazy situation, like a choice that you can have. It's kind of crazy.
I actually had a actual combat veteran explain to me once. He said war is 95% the worst boredom you will ever experience and 5% absolute panic.
I believe it.
Well, I can believe
Thank God
that,
I'm obese and I'll never be fighting in the war.
Yeah. I was bow-legged. They wouldn't have taken me even if I wasn't obese.
Just show them all the knives you have. You'll be in.
Well, they probably wouldn't want me in the war, would they?
Yeah.
Oh, no, there's a gun. Oh, no. I'm part of the LGBTQ community. No, sir, not me.
Kevin be like, "Oh, is that a gun in your pocket?"
I could see like Kevin just like telling enemies off and taking them down that way.
Yeah.
No, I'd be like, give me that gun, because there goes his fucking head. Boom, bitch.
Ooh. He's angry.
Boom,
Yes.
bitch.
Boom,
bitch.
Get
I wouldn't tolerate no shit. I'm the uber gay. I'm the anti freaking I have the rainbow flag gay. I am yes, I am part of the community, but I'm one of those where I'm kind of in a world of my own. I have my own kind of way of thinking. I don't follow the pack, kind of thing.
Nothing wrong with that. Well, it depends on what you're thinking.
I'm basically like an outsider within my own community. because
you don't make
I'm
it
not.
your whole personality.
Yeah, like there's being gay, and then there's being a person whose sexuality is the gay man. But that's my sexuality. It's not everything about who I am. Where there's other people that it's not just the sexuality. Being gay is everything that they're about.
Everyone has to know it.
You see, to me, you're just Kevin.
Yep, and that's all I want to be.
And to me, you're Kevin. Sorry.
It's like I remember watching this interview with Morgan Freeman. I know we're kind of going off subject, and I remember when he did this interview, and when he went in the interview, what do you think of Black History Month? He goes, I hate it. He goes, why does my history have to be relegated to just a month? He goes, when's White Person Month? When's white?
That's what the great Morgan Freeman said one time too. So
that's what he just said.
Yeah, he said he's like,
yeah.
About rather than you see me as a black man and I see you as a white man, I just see you as a man and you see me as a man.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's all I am. I'm a man.
I see him as Morgan Freeman, the guy with the great voice.
Yes.
Morgan
Great
Freeman.
actor.
I can't even do it.
So
guess what? At the end of the day, we all bleed the same blood.
Yep. Well, yep, we sure do. And we're all coming the world the same way, and we're all, well, hopefully we're all going to go out the same way.
I'm not going to go out in my mother's vagina. She's dead. That's a hole I'm not crawling back in.
I'm not crawling in that hole.
That is creepy as fuck, Mr. Tony of the Dead.
You're the one who said it. We all go out the same way we come in.
No,
unless you mean my father's nuts.
How he meant it.
I said it like this. I said we all come in the same way and we all go out the same way, meaning we'll all go out of a box, hopefully. Except, unlike Mariah Carey, my box won't be made of solid fucking gold. Mine will probably be made of pine wood.
Better than me, I'm probably just going to get thrown in the woods to the wild animals.
Well, this is a lovely conversation, talking about how we're going to leave the world.
Well, it's no worse than some of the way that people died in the movie. You know?
Very true, very true. But
very
speaking of the movie, yes. So
that was, I think,
movie,
probably one of the first times too I've ever seen like co-ed showering in a movie, and I thought they just she comes in and she's like
military.
Yeah, that's.
Of course, I'd probably be walking around with a wood half the time.
I was gonna say, would that actually? Does that actually happen? Like they don't have washrooms like that, right?
No, that's like
no way.
Doubtful. Leads
like what movie did we watch the other day that they were both in the prison cell together?
I would not know, but I doubt it happens like that.
Yeah. I think Anubis and I just watched something the other day, and they put, or was it on our channel? Some channel, one of the. I watched so much shit, I don't remember where it's from, and they put the female and the guy in the prison cell together, and I'm like, "There's no way that would happen." I can't remember what it was. We were just watching. Wow.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to the movie and do our final thoughts in ratings. So, Mr. DJ Anubis.
Final thoughts is still a very fun movie. Have a blast with it. It's so funny because it's a little bit dated, but yet it's not. But I think I still give it a 10 out of 10, man. I still like this film a lot. Like, it's a lot of fun. I can always, whenever it pops on the tube, I can sit there and watch it. No matter where it's at in the film, I'll just sit and watch it.
Yeah.
One of those type of films. So.
Yeah, an easy watch movie that you just switch your brain up and enjoy what's happening.
Yep.
Anthony Jordan.
It's still a fun film, classic. entertaining film. I'll give it a 10 out of 10, like Anubis said. If I spot this on, even if it's the last 10 minutes, I could still just sit down and watch it. Like, it's one of those great movies where no matter what point you come in on, it's still enjoyable.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mr. Tony of the Dead.
Ditto. I mean, like, yeah, I agree. I do think it, and not in a bad way. It hits differently now as an adult than when I was, when did it come out? 97.
Yeah.
I was 17, so like my view in the world was totally different than it is now. So it's interesting to see. I also do now that because back then I didn't know what I didn't play Fallout and Part 3 wasn't even around, I don't think. But it kind of reminds you like the propaganda in that too, in the Fallout games. How like I lost my train of thought, but it kind of reminded me of that, like the radio talking, and like the the little vault tech guy, and like you could learn psychosis. I don't know, something.
The commercial ads from RoboCop.
Yeah, that too. Yep.
You can definitely see
fun.
the influences from other films.
Yeah, like I would say they influenced other things. I mean, I don't know when the first Fallout's. I never played Fallout 1 or 2, but I know for Part 3 they had that kind of thing, and so on. But I really like that look of it. It makes it, like you said, it makes it sound like it's safe. It's like retro and stuff like that. I just like the approach to this, and I could appreciate it more as I'm older, because I didn't.
Yeah.
We know more obviously now, but yeah, I enjoy it.
Answer your question. The first Fallout, October 10th, 1997.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, but I mean, did they have I never played it, so I don't know if the propaganda's in that, like it is in the third one.
I played a little bit of the second one, and I hadn't seen any, but I didn't get much past the intro.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the first two don't look like my type of game, but I would say 10 out of 10. It was always a 10 out of 10, and it still is.
I'm going to give it 8 out of 10.
Oh, you suck.
No, I'm giving it 8 out of 10 because I do enjoy it, but I do think it's a little bit dated. The effects are still great, but it's like now that I watch it and I see some of the choppy acting, I'm like as much as Denise Richards is a gorgeous woman, she's not really the greatest of actors.
Okay, Walter.
So call me Walter.
She got known for two main big reasons.
Tits.
Charlie Sheen.
That's the other reason.
Mm-hmm.
First tits, then Charlie.
Well, it shows you how great a career is, because she went from being a Bond girl to being a Real Housewives of fucking Beverly Hills, for God's sake.
Also,
and apparently now she's joined OnlyFans.
She also got that terrible nose job.
Yeah.
Yeah, she isn't that great of an actor, to be honest.
No. No,
but that's the point. Nobody cares. Like Megan Fox, I don't think she's that great, but everybody likes to look at her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's some actresses that are actually born to be real actresses, and some actresses, as horrible as this may sound, they're only hired for the looks and not the talent. Like I always thought that about Cameron Diaz. I thought she's an absolutely stunning woman, but I didn't think she was that great of an actress.
Right.
Yeah, she's better than some, but she's definitely not one of the good ones. I think you could say that about guys too. I think there's some guys that I can't think off the top of my head. I know there's like good-looking guys, and I'm like, they're terrible at acting. Not that The Rock is good looking, but like I don't think his acting is like that great.
He's one
and
I've said that.
Yeah, and he's just this big dude. You need a big dude in a movie that everybody knows, that you put him in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's The Rock.
It's like I like his movies. It's like I like his movies because I love fun action movies. But Jason Statham. I wouldn't say he's the best actor in the world, but it's the fact that he's a great stuntman and he's really good at coming up with amazing stunts. And the films he has been doing lately have been a lot of fun. Like, I love The Beekeeper. The Beekeeper was a lot of fun.
I haven't seen that one.
I still like the films, the Crank series.
Yeah.
They're fun movies.
The funny thing is, he actually said one time in an interview he would prefer doing more serious, dramatic roles, but the roles he pays the bills.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And speaking of Crank, that comes back around to Starship Troopers because Amy Adams is that her name? Amy Adams, or is that somebody different?
From what? Crank?
She was in this.
That's Amy Smart you're thinking of.
Amy Smart. I said bring it back around, and Amy Smart ended up being a co-captain, I guess, in the movie. She wasn't in it much, but I forgot she was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that is all I've got to say really on Starship Troopers. But as always, apart from obviously we've had some technical difficulties a bit of lagging, out of my control. Nothing I can do there. But I've still had fun as always with you guys. I love doing the Retro Classic Movie Show. I love going back and checking out movies I've never seen in a long time. And the next classic movie we're going to be looking at on the Retro Classic Movie Show is DJ Anubis's pick. We haven't selected the date yet when we're going to do the next one, but it's going to be with Keanu Reeves and Patrick Swayze. Patrick Swayze, Point Break.
Yep.
Yes. So I've only ever seen the original, I think, once.
So I never watched the remake. Fuck that.
No, I don't want to watch the remake.
Yeah.
My memory serves me. I think I did enjoy the first one, but I've only ever watched it the one. So it's going to be fun going back to look at that one. But we've got some more stuff coming on the Retro Classic Movie Show. That is what this segment is. But we've got more stuff coming on the entertainment headquarters. We'll have coming up soon on the 26th of this month. We have Mr. Tony the Dead's birthday with a birthday special, talking about all of the George A. Romero's Dead films. Ones he's wrote, ones he's directed. So that's going to be fun. We'll also have coming up some more horror content. We're going to be doing a creature feature based on crocodile movies. So we're going to be talking about Alligator, Alligator 2 The Mutation, Lake Placid, and of course Crawl. Now Crawl's the latest one, and that's a fucking brilliant movie.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, it's a good movie. You're gonna like it. Yeah. So that's just a couple of my horror stuff coming up. I also am still going to be doing this Sunday, fingers crossed. If she's well enough, I will be finally interviewing the lovely Linda Miller. That should have happened last week, but unfortunately, due to her not being feeling so good, we ended up changing it up a bit. So hopefully that's coming this Sunday. And just check out the Entertainment Headquarters YouTube channel for more stuff coming soon. But Mr. DJ Anubis, what's coming to your channel?
So later today, Neko and I will be doing another Classic Reflections as we review track by track 2000 Snake River Conspiracy album, Sonic Jihad. That's going to be a lot of fun. Then tomorrow is a busy day. Tony and I are going to be doing 2 episodes of Ghouls at Midnight. I'm going to be doing my pick, Special Effects. And then he chose a pick called Screamers, Island of the Fishermen. So we'll be doing that as well. Then later in the evening, the Silver Screen Savant, we're going to get together with Olvin, and we're going to be doing Jack the Giant Killer from 1962. next week, as you had pointed out, the Living Dead franchise that we're going to be doing. You and me, Kevin, will be doing my Kaiju Spotlight. It was supposed to happen this week. I wasn't feeling that great that day for Gorgo. And then Friday, I'm doing another Kaiju Spotlight with Alzilla. We're doing Gamera.
Oh,
And
cool.
later in the evening, I'll be joining Rick Myers and Fat Samurai Guy for another episode of Action Film and Autopsy. So that's pretty much what's on the plate right now.
Nice. Anthony Jordan.
Well, I got to work on my review for Godzilla's Revenge, and of course, next week we're doing the Dead one, the Into the Darkness with the creatures, and at some point when Anubis gets with me, I'm going to be doing a Kaiju Spotlight for Bachelor, plus just whatever other ones for you guys that I'm going to appear on.
Awesome. Mr. Tony of the Dead.
Everything Nubis said. I got my Vinegar Syndrome box in right before the stream, so when we're done here and everything, I'm going to record that. I'm still debating on if I'm going to show these. I showed you guys already, but I don't know if I'm going to do a video for these figures. I might wait till I get more, but I don't know.
That's fun.
There's one more thing. There's one more thing you and me will be working on together, Tony. We need to set a date because we are going to be reviewing part of my other new segment, Television Chronicles. We're going to be reviewing the television show Nautilus.
Yep.
So we need to set a date for that and get that done.
Yeah. Well, if this wasn't happening, we would probably be doing it right now.
Yeah. Well,
But,
we're going to do this as a replacement if you weren't well enough to do this, Anubis. We'll have that was going to be our backup for tonight.
Yeah.
Which I'm glad this happened. I'm glad this happened.
Yeah.
That's all I see. All of a sudden, like I go deaf in one ear and I see that and I'm like, oh, he shut his mic off. Yeah.
Hear that?
Oh. But yeah,
Well,
I mean, that's all.
with
that's
that all
going on,
said,
really.
Yeah.
Delay.
Well,
let's
I'm
give,
sure
let's give a round of applause to the delay
but,
today.
Delay. Delay.
He hates us.
That's my applause to the delay.
Oh.
Yes. So, is there any point me fucking saying goodbye to people?
Oh, we said it 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I thought you did.
You're actually watching this part now. We already signed off.
Yeah, we're gone. We've already left. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, people, this has been the Fucked Up Retro Classic Movie Show. This has been
so retro. Our technology regressed.
Yes. So I'm sorry this hasn't went the way I planned, but anyway, everybody have a good day, have a good evening. I'll see you all tomorrow when I finally sign off this thing, and and I'll catch us all at the next one.
Later.